Hey, how's it going, everybody? Well, today I thought I would throw together a series of videos on how I paint um, a hard body crankbait or top pop. We're actually going to do that one completely from beginning to end, but this is the beginning of that series, and in this one, what I'm going to do is show what I use. Some things are necessary, some things are not. I mean, you don't need everything that I have here. Some things you'll see, like I did on other people's videos. And there's my so fars. We'll get to them. Anyway, some things you'll see and think, oh, why don't I use that? Which is exactly how I end up with certain things. Because I've seen it and, God, that'll make life easier. Like those little buggers right there. And we'll get to those. So, starting with, I'm also a scale model builder from everything from Hot Wheels up to anything, 125 scale, collectible models. So I'm already way ahead of a lot of people as far as like this paint, airbrush. I have 5 airbrushes. Not to brag about that. I'm just saying that's how involved I am in the hobby. It's still my first air compressor, and I wear gloves, keep my hands and all that. But once you're involved, and as you can see, it takes a few different things to mix with paint and all that. And like I say, some things are necessary, some things aren't. I mean, you could paint lures by hand, and you don't need all this really. So it's really up to you if you want to go that far and spend the money and make them as nice as you can, but you can make them as nice as you can either way, is what I'm trying to say. This is my auto paint shaker, and it's really nothing but a nail lacquer shaker for beauty salon, a cosmetologist. I got the idea from my ex-wife, actually. She was a cosmetologist, and she hated shaking the nail polish, and she showed me those things, and I've had one ever since. They're great for these little bottles. You just set it in here. You can see that I use hair ties because they're actually a lot easier than bands. Bands break. These last way longer. It's kind of weird going into the dollar store and buying that kind of stuff, but sits in there and you just strap it in, you push it, and it shakes the hell out of it. It's that simple, and you leave it on there for a couple minutes, or as long as you want, as long as it takes. Let's put it that way. Usually, I do it for like a minute and a half, and then I'll turn it off and I'll roll it completely 180, and do it again for the exact amount of time. That way, I know it's mixed. That if it doesn't settle right, you never know. So I don't know. And airbrush, it's really up to you. I recommend getting something decent to start with. That's why I have 5. So, like I'm saying, I'm not bragging that I have 5. It took 5 for me to learn that you better buy something good to start with, because yeah, for the amount of money I spent on 5, I could have bought one nicer than this, and this was enough. This is an Iowata, and it's a good brand. So if you want to go to a nicer airbrush, that's one of the better ones on the market. There are several, so just don't think that Iowata, everybody's using it. Maybe they are. I don't know. That's what I use. I know a couple people that use them that are also in the hobby. I bought that years ago when I started painting models, so it has nothing to do with lures or my choice for the lures. I've already had it before I started doing this. I just recently started doing these. They kind of go hand in hand. I like to paint, and they're just the right size for it. But anyway, carrying on. Q-tips, another thing. It's up to you. I like them because it's just easier to clean my airbrush. really quickly. Sometimes you want to just make a little swipe off of something, and the Q-tip is just what you need, you know. So I keep some of them around, mixing cups for paint. Some of them, sometimes I make more paint than I need because I'm wanting a certain color and I just can't hit it. So I keep blending and blending until I hit the right color. So I'll put them in these cups because they got lids. And I'll save it for a while, maybe do 2 or 3 lures because I have so much paint. But for the most part, these little guys are what I use. And I'll make enough just to make 1 lure. Or paint 1 lure. Like some lures, I'll mix the paint in here. Depending on what I'm doing. If it's detail stuff, I'll put a couple drops of paint in this and then put a little reducer and then mix it together by hand, just a little brush or whatever, just mix it and then back air it so it mixes, because that's sometimes all you need is just like a little shadow, like around the eye or something. You don't need to mix a big bunch of it. But okay, carrying on. Tape. Another thing, you can see these little thin ones. You can make them out of this. So it's another necessary. Do you want it or is it necessary? Now this one, sorry for the fumbling here. This one's a little different. This one is automotive pinstripe, what you would see on a car. This is vinyl. This one I like because it's a 1/16 of an inch thin. I don't even want to say thick. And it's nice if you want to pin and want a stripe that goes right, whoops, excuse me, I'm putting my finger in the way, perfectly around that, you know, because you're not real good with an airbrush like me and you want a crisp edge. So this stuff is really flexible and you can get it around corners really easy. But this also does it. And this you can get at any of your hobby stores, Hobby Lobby or Michael's, whatever. Comes in a pack of 10 rolls. This is, I just opened this one, so that's how big they are. 10 rolls in a stack. So it's not necessary. What I use that for, see those right there? They go around the hook eyelets while I'm spraying and dipping. That's all I use that for. But it's up to you. That's why it's not necessary, because you can still dip and you're clear and paint without covering your eyelets, because you can just scrape it and it pops right off. It's not that big a deal. I just do it just, I don't know, 1 extra step, big deal. But anyway, carrying on. Glue, the reason why I have the glue is because sometimes these are jointed. You know, you're buying plastic that's molded and jointed together with the glue. That's how they get the balls in them and how they get the ringlets in them. But sometimes, well, this one right here, for instance, it's a little loose. So what I'll do is I'll take that glue, and you'll see it in the steps as I go throughout my videos. Each step I'll show as I go. I will go around every eyelet and every seam with that glue, because it's really super thin and it penetrates, and it'll get into places that a thicker glue won't. So that's what I use that for. These 1000 and 2000 sanding sponges, they're really handy. That's for fine tuning. Before they get up on this stage right here, they need to be sanded and prepped. That's what they're for. And then it'll get primed with this stuff right here. It's basically a step up from the primers that you would buy in a can at Walmart. It's just made for airbrush, and it's better. You can see how level that is and perfect. Yeah, that's why that paint came out so level and perfect, because that one did. And these are the 3 stages right here. This is glued and prepped and sanded and ready to go for prime. This is prime and not sanded, but it will get sanded. And then you'll get base coat, and this is base coat. And the reason why it's so shiny is I always dip my lure after base coat in that poly, just to save it, because the more poly coats you have, the more durable it's going to be. And that's just to save my colors. So when that dries, then I'll continue on and do the details around the gill plates and shadow the eyes and all that. I'll continue on, and you'll see all that on that lure. Whoops. Because I'll do all these 3 steps in each video, but on that lure. So you'll see it as it goes. Let's see what else. Stencils. That's completely up to you. You can see out of all these stencils, I make my own. And I make them out of my old business cards when I was a landscaper. All I do is just take protractor or compass or whatever and get your degree of the gill plates, your angles or your circumference or whatever of your gill plates. Don't mind that number. That's actually a tracking number for something I ship somewhere. I use my old business cards for note cards and all kinds of crap. But these are the round ends. Sorry, I can't use 2 hands because I'm holding a camera, but these round ends are gill plates. So you cover whatever part of the gill plate you don't want. And here, just like this. This one's it's for a 3.5 inch jerkbait. This is for the gill plate. So you're putting it over the gill plate and you're painting this and you're creating a shadow. That's how that's done. See? Same with this one. And it'll look like, see the pink on that lure? That's what it looks like. Then we'll get to that. But just so you get an idea what I'm talking about. This happens to be that same pattern on that lure right there. So, it's, you can make a lure look exceptional. Here's what this is exactly what I got the circumference of that gill plate up there. This is what I used. I put it up against a lure and found which one matched it, and I started to use this and I realized how stupid it was to get paint all over this one. I can just trace this on cardboard and make my own and save this forever. But I also have one that's bottom fins. I don't know what they're called, but different fins coming off the fish, and they're not even for fish. This is a pattern. You can see it's an envelope of different patterns, different stencils for dab brushing. That's what they're actually for dabbing. If you know anything about crafting, stencil brushes, stencil sponges. And anyway, carrying on, eyes. These all came with different lures that I bought, and we'll get to those in a minute. I have 100 different lures. Not different, but I have 100 lures in count. And they're all right here in different styles. But anyway, some of these all these eyes in this bag came with those lures. These I bought separate. There's over 3,000 eyes in here, and they're really cheap. I think less than $20 for all these different size. Most times you're going to use this size and up. I've never used these. And the only thing you'd really use these for is, I'm imagining, is different size spoons that you want to put an eye on, like a Cyclops, Mep Cyclops or something like that. You can make your own. And of course hooks. You're going to need to put hooks on them. Most of the size that I have take either a 4 or a 6. Like this lure here, we'll put 4s on it. And sometimes I'll mix them around. You'll see, like on the butt end of this girl, the pinky, she's got a 4 on the back and little 6s up front. So you can do that. You can mix and match, but you just got to make sure you get the right ringlets so they'll fit on. Sorry, I just made that blurry in my hand, but so you're going to need these for sure, no matter what. There's a lot of things, like I said, you need or you don't need. And I recommend highly these ring pliers. Those rings right there. These pliers, let's see if I can do this so you can see it. See how one of them is bent? That splits your ring. That's why it's called split ring pliers. And it pushes right up against, see that? pushes right up again and splits your ring. So then you can't use the pliers to twist it on. You got to use your thumb or something. I use my thumb, and maybe you'll get to that once we get to the hooks part of the video. But I push it on with my thumb like this as I'm going, and then I grab the pliers and pull it through the rest of the way. But you got to get it started somehow on the ringlet, and that's what I use my thumb for. Those pliers do not grab it whatsoever. All they do is just separate it, so you can still move it, and that's really what you want. You don't want those pliers to pinch it at all, because then you're just bending the hell out of those. But anyway, toothpicks. The reason why I have these is while my paint is drying, I'll clean out the eyelets where the hooks go. Or not my paint, but my clear coat. And I'll let it drip for a while, and then once it's to the point where it's not dripping, it's just building up, then I'll use a toothpick and I'll run it through and just clean out the eyelet, and then it pretty much stays clean. This one was dipped not long ago, and you can see, because I hang them upside down, and you can see that eyelet is cleaned out. So, and your choice of lures. I can set these here. I have, like I said, there's 100 in here in different bags, just separated. Some I have multiples, like, you know, your top stick baits. You know you're going to go through a bunch of different colors of those. So I got 20 of those, 25 of these, because you know your divers, you're going to use them. More stick baits, different styles. This came in a bundle pack, actually. I bought 2 different bundle packs. I had different variations of these. I bought separate. These are lipless. I think I got 10 of those, but there's another bag you can see there that has 2 or 3 in there of that style. They're a little bit bigger. And let's see, these are that right there. I got, I think, 20 of these just because I want to try a lot of multiple colors. And I'm the kind of guy that'll cast things in places where most people won't. This is part of a bundle pack. These are the cigar. There's 2 of those in there, and there's one I call a little pickle pecker. They both came with that little green reflector in there, but you can't even see it. But that's how I painted mine up. But anyway, there's 100 different lures in there. I got mine all on Amazon, every one of them. And all you got to do is type in blank crankbait, clear plastic crankbait, I don't know, something like that. And you'll find them. And just go through and find a person that's reputable. I don't really want to give you the one I got because I've had good, bad, and ugly in my selection. That's why I have these. I should have showed you these. These are files. Sometimes the joinery, the way they join them together, is a little rough around the edges. Sorry for the dirty nails. I work in a greenhouse. But anyway, sometimes when they're put together, they're a little off. So I'll use the files to make it so it looks more round, that's why that one come out so nice. I did exactly that. I go around them with the files and make sure everything is smooth where it's joined together. So, and I recommend having an X-Acto. You will need that for cleaning the paint off the eyes later on. Once you're totally done, you'll cut around the eye, all the way around it, and then just on both sides, and it pops right off. It comes off really quick. That's why, taping them is just a step you don't need to do. I do it because it just takes away a step of cleaning them off later. That's all. And you don't, like I said, you don't need to do that at all. And that's really pretty much it as far as what I use to paint my lures. I have never used these yet. I just got these. So, and every lure I have, these don't fit. But I can make them work. you know, I can create shadow stripes rather than exact stripes. They're a little bit too small for that, but they're close enough where, like I said, I can hold it to the lure and then spray over it, and it gives me more of a spread out, shadowy, more stripe than it does a more defined, which sometimes like a perch, that's what it more would look like, or a bluegill. You know, the stripes in a bluegill, they're kind of fadey, and that's would work perfect. But anyway, yeah, this is pretty much it. Other than like this table is not a kitchen table. I'm not set up on our kitchen table. This is a room off of the shop, and I happen to have, yeah. Oh yeah, there's another thing you don't need: distraction. Let me tell you. You know how long it takes me to get going in the morning when I'm in here? On Saturday and Sunday, I come in here to do painting, and I sit down with a cup of coffee. That's the first thing I do. Yeah. Don't do that. Don't put a 50-inch TV in your shop. Anyway, so some of this stuff, like I said, just looking at it, you're like, oh, like these. These are handy for big splitties. It keeps them in line. Otherwise, they're just flopping all over the place while you're trying to paint them. It's a real pain in the butt. So these come in handy for that. Otherwise, most times all you need is barbecue skewers and a bag full of alligator clips, and you make your own. Literally. I mean, that thing right there, that green spongy looking thing, is you can get them at Walmart or a craft store. It's for poking flowers and fake flowers in a vase. That's all that is, and it's really cheap. You can get 3 of those blocks for like $1. Real simple. Or you can go out and spend, you know, $15, $20 on a real fancy thing and all that. Look at this. Same thing. Barbecue skews, a dowel, and fake flower sponge or foam. That's all that is. I just needed something right now, and that's what it is. And that's what I'll use. They go from there to my tackle box. So who cares? This row right here in the front on the top are complete. The ones in the back on top, I want to add more to, and the ones on the bottom need to be reworked. You can see the big scratch in that one. I hit a rock at the bottom of a dam, and I got wedged between it, and I yanked it like an idiot. So that needs to be redone. That one was one of the first ones I did this year, and I liked it, but I didn't. So it's kind of okay that I got banged up. But these four up here need to be proven tested. They will be videos and of their own, taking them out and fishing with them and catching fish. So that's pretty much what all these are. I'm making them for myself. Some of my friends want some, of course, you know. And yeah, if any of you guys want some, hit me up. We'll see what we can do. But I'm going to shorten this video just so we can get going and making. I'm probably going to make one full-length video, as well as, like, this video will be one video. The next video will be the next step. I'm not going to rattle them off right now to you because it would be ridiculously redundant. But yeah, so there'll be several videos of doing one lure, but I will also make one video including this one and all of them put together. So we'll see you on the next one.